G'day everyone, it's Curtis here and welcome to an On the Back Wheel video. You may have seen recently that I had a bit of a mishap while riding back from the last Ram rally. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I put the link up above. While not ideal, it made for a good video. Short version is the bike got damaged and I ended up making an insurance claim. As a result of that claim, my KLR 650 has been written off. While it didn't look like much initially, when I tallied it up, there was a bit of damage. We had a damaged rim, the spokes were all stuffed. Well, about 6 of them were stuffed, but then, someone bent here and there as well. The rear brake master cylinder was damaged and leaking. The brake line supports on the swing arm were damaged. There was damaged chain guides, both top and bottom. They were destroyed. The chain was stuffed, the speedo sensor was broken, it actually snapped in half, and the chain was completely tangled up front. While fixable, when combined with the fairing damage and labour involved, and some things were just bent out of shape on the bike too, like I could see the tower was a bit sideways. With all the labour involved, they deemed it to be a write-off. So for people who don't know, or if you're in a different country and it means something else, it basically means they totaled the bike and they're giving me a payout or a new for old replacement. And to be honest, I'm not mad. While it is a massive pain in the ass in general, I had planned on selling the KLR towards the end of the year and getting something else. So this has just kind of sped things up. From an insurance side of things, since the bike was less than 2 years old, it was eligible for a new for old replacement. So what does that mean? Well, it means that I now have a brand new 2023 green KLR 650 sitting in my garage. Before you get excited, I'm going to sell it straight away without even riding it. Why? Because this is the best thing to do for me financially. They offered me a payout, but the payout was significantly less than getting a new bike and then selling the new bike, even with the loss I'm going to take from the purchase and me being the first owner. So I'm going to aim to sell it privately. Also, while dealing with the insurance side of things and then ordering the new bike and everything, I realized it was also time for a change. I've loved having the KLR, and honestly, I took a bit of a risk when buying it. When I was in the States, I started to take my channel more seriously. We moved back and I bought the KTM Super Duke. I've always been into Super Nakeds. I love Super Nakeds. They're great fun. But the KLR was announced and I thought, you know what? This could be a good opportunity for the channel. I love adventure bike riding and really wanted to get into that some more. I dabbled in it here and there, but nothing serious. So I took a chance and bought one solely for the channel. And as a result, it's gone great, to be honest. I've got some amazing followers now. We've got a really good community building that I am going to build and do more stuff on that in the future. We'll talk about that on the community page and in a separate forum. And we've also got over 10,000 followers now. So the KLR has been great for growing the channel. So what bike am I going to get next? Well, there's a couple of things I need to consider. Number one is what will grow the channel. What's going to be good for bringing new people in and keeping people who join for the KLR happy. And number two, and is just as important, is what do I actually want to own and ride? There's a lot of bikes I could get that would be probably great for growing the channel, but I just don't want to own them, So we do have a short list at the moment, and I've narrowed it down to, surprise, surprise, the Aprilia Touareg 660. For those who saw my review, you'll know how much I love that bike. The Suzuki V-Strom 800. I've got to look at one of them yet in person and possibly take it for a test ride. I was looking at getting one for review, but that's not happening. So I'm either going to have to buy one or see if a dealer will let me take one out for a day. The Gas ES 700 and Husqvarna 701, or the Honda CRF 450L. I also looked at getting the Honda Transalp, but they aren't available till the end of the year. They don't even have an ETA on one of those. So look, maybe I'll put a deposit on and we'll see what happens, but it just depends on what happens with my other bike, what I'm getting, and my finances. Just gonna have a sip of tea. I'm struggling with a bit of cold and flu lately, so my voice is a bit croaky or dulcet. That's why. The one I would love to own the most is the Touareg, but I've already reviewed one and they're $22,500, so the most expensive bike I've listed. The V-Strom really intrigues me. It's heavy, but with some mods, it could be a weapon off-road, and I'm really intrigued to see what I can do on that bike. Like, not to say I'm a really skilled rider, but I like to push bikes off-road and take them where they don't really belong, so that could be a good option. The KTM Trio, the 690, 700, and 701 is definitely on the cards, especially the gas. Most people know the KTM and Husky, but overlook the gas, and I'm not sure why. It is a newer brand. That's probably one of the big reasons why. But it's essentially the same bike with some very minor changes and settings, so I'm keen to check that one out. The CRF 450L is a bit of a wild card. It's more of a dual sport or even enduro bike. Like, you can lighten it up and it's similar weight to the other bikes in the class. I'd love to mod one for commuting and light adventure riding, and I think that could be a really cool thing. So I might check one of those out. We'll see how we go. I also considered the Royal Enfield Himalayan, the Honda CRF 300 Rally, and KTM 500 EXC, but they've all kind of been done already. It'd be great if they're releasing that Himalayan 450 soon and more details on that, but that's not going to be for a little while, so we're scrapping that idea. I'd love to mod a CRF 300 Rally, but the lack of power does worry me, especially coming from the KLR, which isn't exactly known for its power. I want something with a bit more oomph this time. A lot of people would like me to get the Yamaha Tenere 700, like, why don't you just buy one? Look, I'm going to squash that straight away. I will not be purchasing one. Why? Well, I've ridden the Yamaha and Aprilia, and the Aprilia is just a better bike in my opinion. It's a much better bike, in fact. So if I was to get any bike in that class, that kind of category, I'd be getting the Aprilia. Plus, I've already got my mate's Tenere 700 in my garage right here. So I'm creating content on that already, and I'm going to be creating more content. So there's no need for me to really buy one, especially when I don't really want to own one. My normal riding consists of commuting 20 kilometers each way, riding to my local trails, and I'm lucky that my local trails are half an hour away, so they're pretty close. There are some further away, but it's a nice ride to them. It's only an hour if I want to go to them as well. And I do the odd overnight trip here and there. But with a young family, plus my wife and I both working, it is very rare that I do long trips. I'll maybe do a couple in a year, that's it. So I'm not too concerned about long distance ability. Look, it's always nice, but it's not high up on my list. So that's where I'm at the moment. A lot of people haven't seen my community posts or what happened with the KLR, or they saw the new KLR photos and like, oh, great, he's got a new KLR. Look, I'm just selling that straight away. So don't get too excited, but get excited because I'm getting something different. I've been scouring the internet, looking at different bikes, seeing what deals are out there as well, and having a big think about what I want. If you got any suggestions, put them in the comments down below. I've had some great suggestions already, some terrible as well. Hey, but it's all good fun. So put those down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and keep it on the back wheel, everyone. Catches.